Hey everyone, it's Jill and welcome back to my booktube channel. This video is going to be a study and a reading vlog. I am studying for the NCLEX and then I'm going to be showing you guys what I read this week. So starting off, I'm going to give you a little bit of a book update. So I've been listening to Reckless, which is the Powerless sequel, which I read Powerless last year and I gave it 3 stars, so I wasn't super obsessed with it, but I was still eager to see what happened in the second book and I was excited for it to come out. I'm 35% of the way through and I feel like I might also actually have to pick up the physical book of this one because since I'm pretty new to audiobooks, like I've only read I think 2 or 3 books so far. I think this is going to be my 3rd audiobook that I listen to. I'm still kind of getting used to like paying attention when I'm listening, especially with this being a fantasy book. I feel like there have been a few instances where I'm like, I think I missed something. But other than that, and what I have gathered from this book so far, I am really enjoying listening to it. There's been a good amount of tension between the FMC Peyton and the MMC Kai, which, considering what happened at the end of the last book, I was really looking forward to. That's all I'm going to say for now about Reckless though, because I am not super far in. I mean, I guess 35% is a decent amount in, but I probably will update later when I'm more so into the book. But moving on to studying for the NCLEX, I have been using UWorld and I looked on Reddit to see what the best options were. I know there's like Archer, UWorld, Kaplan, there's so many different resources and prep materials that people can use for studying for the NCLEX, but I did decide to go with UWorld and I've been using for the past week their study plan. You can lay out the timeline of like when you start and when you want to end studying, and then they'll come up with a plan for you. But I kind of realized since doing that last week that they do it section by section or topic by topic, I guess is an easier way to kind of explain that, which I was unsure whether or not that was going to be a good idea, because my plan with using UWorld was to just pretty much use the practice questions. They have lectures as well to kind of explain different diseases and whatnot, but I did mainly want to use UWorld for the practice questions. So then I was looking on Reddit and people were saying that if you're using UWorld mostly for practice questions, to make your own question banks, which you can customize yourself, and to create your own practice test but have all the different topics randomized to more so mimic what the actual exam was going to be like, because in the exam they're not going to break it down by, oh, this is going to be cardiac, this is going to be maternal newborn, this is going to be like blah blah blah. Like, so this week I'll be changing it up and making my own practice quizzes, and today my goal is to do 70 questions. So I'm going to get started with that and I'll probably give you guys a little update later tonight. It's the next day now and I actually yesterday finished 100 questions. My goal was to do 70, but this morning I'm going to start the book The Problem with Players. This was on my July TBR from my TBR video, and I probably won't get too far into this. I might just read for like 15-ish minutes and then get back into studying. But in terms of studying today, I think I want to do 100 questions again. And then I also just want to watch videos. I've heard people talk about Simple Nursing and then Registered Nurse RN on YouTube, so I'll probably check out their videos. But I'll start off with drinking my iced coffee that I have here and reading this book. Hi guys, it's a little bit later in the day today, but I actually kind of switched up my NCLEX studying method. I hope people do not take this as a how to study for the NCLEX video, because honestly I'm really just trying to figure it out myself and I don't really know the best way to do that, so this is not advice. But I changed my mind because I remember yesterday I was saying how when I was doing the practice questions I was covering all topics, and I was finding yesterday that this was not the most productive way to study because I was pretty much guessing most of the questions. And then today what I decided to do was focus on maternal newborn. So I read notes that I had for maternal newborn, and then I watched the Registered Nurse RN YouTube videos on maternal newborn, and then I just finished reading more maternal newborn notes from a different resource. And then now the plan for tonight is to go back to UWorld and go to their maternal newborn lectures, watch all of those lectures, and then after that I'm going to do 50 to 70 practice questions on UWorld. And I feel like this makes more sense to me, at least, because I'm getting more familiar as I'm looking at different resources and watching videos and reading the notes about the content and the topics and the different concepts and whatnot. So then when I go into the questions, I'm actually kind of knowing what to expect, since I was studying for the whole day prior to doing the questions. So I'm going to try this out, and then I've been writing in my notebook just what I did today. So then I'm going to do, I think the plan is to do a different topic every day with the same kind of method of watching videos, reading notes, watching videos, reading notes, or I guess I read the notes first, but doing that and then doing practice questions at the end of the day. And I'm going to try this for a few days and see how that goes. I'll update to see how I'm liking it and if I'm going to do any other changes.
It's Sarah, registerednursern.com, and in this review, we're going to talk about gestational diabetes.
This morning I wanted to do a reading update. So I'm now 57% of the way through Reckless, and with the romance, some of the things that Kai has says, I will give it to him. They are pretty cute, and I feel like there's been a good amount of tension that's been built. The plot is actually really reminding me of Spark of the Everflame, where there are like separations of people that have powers and people that don't have powers, and those that do have powers are like superior, or like they believe they're superior than the people that don't have powers, and they're trying to like get rid of the people that don't have powers. And also the fact that the princes are involved heavily in the story. There are of course some differences between the two stories, but I just noticed a few of those parallels. And I will say the plot has been a little bit slow progressing, in my opinion at least. I just haven't really felt like much has been going on, and I feel like it's less plot heavy and more so the romance aspect that is trying to be built in this book. Maybe in the next book, which I believe is, I think this is a trilogy, so I think the next book will be the last book. So maybe in that one the plot will be explained a little bit more and kind of fleshed out a little better than this one has been. But that's all I really have to say about Reckless. And then I also started The Problem with Players on my Kindle yesterday. I really didn't get far into it. I read for like 15 minutes, so I'm probably on like page 20 or something. But this is a second chance sports romance, and the main female character, her name is Avery. She is a baseball coach for this high school team, I believe it is. And then the MMC, his name is Nathan, and he used to play baseball professionally. So the conflict that's been happening is that Nathan is going to be the assistant coach, and Avery is pretty reluctant with this happening because since it's her ex and whatnot, she doesn't really want to get involved with him or work with him. She very much wants to work by herself. And that's all I really have so far for that one, since like I said, I did not read for very long with that one yesterday, but I'll definitely do more updates as I get further through that one. And then today, in terms of my studying, I wanted to do cardio and endocrine, but I feel like I might not have time for both of those topics, so I might just start with cardio, and then maybe tomorrow I'll do endocrine stuff. And I've been starting with that by reading some cardio notes, and then I'm going to watch YouTube videos by Registered Nurse RN. Of course, I've been really loving her videos. Yesterday, I spent like the majority of the day watching her videos, and I just felt like they were so helpful. So I'm going to do that, and then I will update later in the day. It's been 2 days since I've done an update, but yesterday I was honestly pretty stressed because I felt like I just didn't know that much when I was studying. So I just didn't really feel like doing an update. But what I worked on yesterday was more cardiovascular and cardiovascular meds, and then questions, watching more videos. Today I'm going to focus on endocrine and respiratory content, and then do 50 to 70 questions on UWorld. But other than that, in terms of my book, I ended up in Spotify jail with Reckless, and I don't really understand how that happened because it's like 15 hours a month, but Reckless was less than 15 hours, so I don't know how I ended up not being able to listen to it anymore. But I got to track 40, which I feel like the chapters and the tracks were like a little bit off, so I don't know exactly where I am. But I don't have the physical book either, so I'm either gonna have to wait till August to listen to the rest of it, or I'm gonna have to pick up the physical copy, which I don't really know if I want to do that either. And then the other book that I was reading on Kindle, The Problem with Players, I really haven't read too much more of that. I don't even think I picked it up again since I started it, so I don't really have an update there. But I'm really disappointed that I'm not able to finish Reckless because I was kind of enjoying it. It's kind of just like a silly, fun, like not very serious read in my opinion, and I feel like it's definitely about Kai and Peyton and their like love story, I guess, versus the rest of the plot. I still feel like the plot hasn't really progressed much, but I don't know, maybe if I pick up the physical book and then read that again, then I would feel differently, but that's just how I feel after listening to it. But since I last updated with Reckless, there was a new kind of trope that ended up happening, which has been fun to read about, and now I just want to figure out what happens next, but I can't, unfortunately. But I'm going to get started with studying now, and I think I might be starting to do summary notes. So I have like little templates for different things. So I have like a pharmacology template and then a disease summary template where it just goes over like the pathology, signs and symptoms, risk factors, complications, diagnosis and treatment, that I can just write the bullet points, like the main ideas of for different diseases. So I'm kind of unsure yet, but I think I might start doing that today. Paul and I are going to go, we're going to get some bubble tea just as a little treat for today since we're both kind of working on different things. And I think I'm going to get a matcha one, but I can't decide whether I want like a creamy one or a more like fruity one. But we're gonna head out and do that, and then also a few errands too. Alright guys, so it's 8 o'clock and kind of the end of the day. I might do a little bit more of just revision afterwards, but today I did a bunch of summary notes of diseases, and my focus today was on endocrine disorders, but I did summary notes of 11 endocrine diseases. I also did this little insulin onset, peak, and duration mnemonic, which I literally just watched a video from Registered Nurse RN, and I did that and copied it myself. And then I also did 50 practice questions on New World for endocrine, which I feel like was helpful in kind of solidifying some of the concepts I learned. And in terms of my book, The Problem with Players, I read a little bit more today, not too much, but I did read a little bit. I'm on chapter 5 now, and this is kind of honestly the Grumpy Sunshine, reverse Grumpy Sunshine trope. She is honestly like pretty rude to Nathan, and Nathan, I honestly like him so far a lot because the way that he reacted to finding out about her being a coach with that whole situation was really nice in my opinion, and so far I really think he's a good guy. And I'm also getting the cute small town romance vibes from this. I think that this is an interconnected series actually, and there are a lot of name drops of like other characters that I think might have had books or will have books in the future, it seems like. But so far I am enjoying it, even though I'm only literally on page 54, so I don't have too much of an update for that one, but hopefully I'll read a little bit more tonight and then a little more tomorrow. I think I'll leave it at that for today, and then I'll see you guys tomorrow. Hi guys, it's the next day, and today I think I'm going to go to Indigo. I was looking online last night at different textbooks. I feel like I just want a physical textbook to help me go over concepts and whatnot, rather than just always using my laptop. So I was debating between Kaplan and Saunders textbooks, and I think I'm going to go with the Saunders. And at my Indigo, it says there's one left of the 9th generation, or not 9th generation, the 9th edition of this textbook. So I think I'm going to go pick that up, and hopefully it's helpful. It has a bunch of practice questions and just all the content laid out of the things that I need to know for this exam. So I'm gonna go head out now and pick that up. Back home now, and here's the textbook. It's literally huge. I think there's more than 1,000 pages in it, but I'm going to open it now. And I was a little bit worried because when we got there, I wasn't sure where to find it. And then I was looking online at the inventory, and then it said that there wasn't any left. But then when I checked this morning, it said there was one left. but I realized I was looking at the wrong product. So I ended up finding it. Another reason why I chose the Saunders one over the Kaplan one is because I heard a lot of people say one bad thing about the Kaplan one was that it was in black and white. So it was a little bit difficult to kind of visualize some of the concepts, but this one's in full color. So if you can see here, there's like lots of diagrams to, I'm sure, look at and whatnot. So I also got some highlighters, the mild liners, and it came with pens. It was like a pack of pens and highlighters. So I think I'm going to also use this to make notes in here. And I also have some sticky notes upstairs, so I think I'll be using those as well to kind of mark different areas of this. So it looks like we have preparation tips here, foundations of care, maternity, pediatric, and then adult, mental health, and then also complex care at the end here. So I'm going to get this started, and I'll probably go over endocrine in here since that's what I was looking at yesterday. So I want to see what they have in here for that topic. And then with my book, I am a little further into it now. I think I'm 100 pages in, 101 pages in, and I am still really enjoying it, and not too much has happened since I updated last, but I am enjoying it, and I feel like it maybe could be a 4-star read for me. I don't know, we'll see. Alright, so for today, I am going to be doing more endocrine practice questions on UWorld. I'm also going to do the review lectures here, so it has appendicitis, bowel obstruction, celiac disease, cholecystitis, cirrhosis, enteral tube. Okay, so essentially just a bunch of gastro review lectures. So I'm going to watch those too, and then I'll be reading the chapters about gastro in this book. So I'm going to start with that. Sorry, actually I'm going to start with finishing reading the endocrine chapter in here, and so far I am really enjoying this book. I feel like every disease process is organized very concisely and is pretty straight to the point, which I appreciate because sometimes textbooks are just a lot of fluff. So I'm going to read this over first, and then I also, because I was working on adult cardiac stuff before, I also want to read the chapter on that in this Saunders book because I want to constantly review the things that I'm learning just so that it stays fresh in my mind. And for my book, I think I'm almost halfway through it. I think I'm on page 178 or something like that. And this is the kind of enemies to lovers trope where the enemies aspect is pretty weak. Like, it's not a true enemies to lovers. But like I said in one of the previous clips, I'm a really big fan of the MMC, and he's just continued to show how much he really cares for Avery, and he's just so into acts of service, which I feel like is one of the love languages that I resonate with. And just his mom and his whole family dynamic is really fun to read about. They're super tight-knit, and they all live in this one area of the town, and they all just like go to each other's houses and hang out. And then where his mom lives, it's really sweet because they refer to it as like the heart of their family. But that's all for now, and I will check in with you guys later today. I have an update for you guys. I finished The Problem with Players, and I honestly really enjoyed this one. I think I'm going to give it 4 stars overall. There were some parts of this that I wasn't a huge fan of, like the baseball parts. I was kind of like, I don't really care. I did feel like there were some aspects of the story that seemed a little bit too easy to overcome for the characters, and things were just resolved pretty easily. And I think it was also a tad bit too long. It was just 400 pages, I think. I feel like it could have been more like 350 and things would have been fine. But overall, I do really think that Avery and Nathan are meant to be together, and I really like them as a couple. I feel like by the end of it, they really understood each other and were able to communicate much better. And I don't want to spoil things, but I felt like the third act breakup was pretty necessary, as well as after the third act breakup, I felt like like that was necessary as well. But yeah, I'm really happy that I finished this book, and I would recommend it if you're interested. And honestly, I'm not even a huge sports romance fan, so I'm happily surprised with my overall thoughts of this one. And then with my studying today, I did get everything I needed to get done on UWorld using the study plan. I know I've kind of gone back and forth with using and not using the study plan, but I think I have decided that I'm going to try to stick to the study plan. I will say though, I'm not a huge fan of the lectures on UWorld. I find them to not be the most engaging, and I definitely prefer Registered Nurse RN on YouTube. I love her videos so much. I feel like she really makes it easy for me to understand all the concepts that she talks about. But yeah, so the plan moving forward is to continue with the learning plan for UWorld, and then I also will be continuing to read to further understand concepts from the Saunders book. And then I also started listening to Mark K lectures, which I did a while ago and then kind of stopped, but I think I will listen to all of those just to kind of see what he has to say, because thus far I do feel like he does give some useful tips and advice on taking the test. So I do want to finish those. I did originally plan to listen to some today, but that just didn't happen. But maybe I will tomorrow. But otherwise, that is the end of this study and reading vlog. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. If you've read either of the books mentioned in this video, Reckless and The Problem with Players, please let me know your thoughts on them in a comment down below. And don't forget to give this video a like and subscribe to my channel for more book content. And I will see you in a new video soon. Bye guys.